UK column on the French riot.
So, David, this is being presented as far right starting to come out on the streets as well. And it does look to me like that France is an absolute tinderbox at the moment, but it also looks to me like this is becoming, it is absolutely a manipulated event.
We don't know who those people are. They appear to be the far right, but are they in fact instigators?
So what ulterior things could the French government be up to? They'd stage these riots.
From the 3rd of July and for a fixed period, temporary restrictions will be applied on internet access in certain specific neighbourhoods during night hours.
Well, that's censorship on steroids. That's what that is. That's not just taking down posts and going to tech companies, can you get rid of this account, can you get rid of that video. They're just able to shut down the entire internet wherever they want at certain times. Could that happen here in Australia? Let's look at our telecommunications landscape. Remember this, they sold Telstra for $45.6 billion over 3 tranches. The excuse at the time was that government shouldn't be in business, having something profitable, a return back to the people. And also, Telstra didn't have the flexibility to meet the technical challenges. But then the very next Prime Minister, a year later, decides, oh no, the government will be in telecommunications. Within 2 years, from 2007 to 2009, it racked up $43 billion, which is only $2 billion less than what they got for the sale of Telstra. We only got one part back, which was the internet side. We lost all the telephone infrastructure and everything, all the mobile phone towers. So a decade or so later, after all this revenue, there's still $32 billion in the red. So obviously all the shenanigans are all profit for the corporations and more debt for us. But when you see what's going on in France, that they're able to switch off the internet in certain suburbs for certain times of the day, well, you need a centralised internet service, which is what we've got, and you have to be on it for landlines. And as far as mobile internet access goes, well, there's only 3 players. Actually, Vodafone as well, though they're not mentioned in this report, but they're heavily regulated by the government. So after all those shenanigans, we've ended up in a situation where the government mysteriously has ended up with total control over whether the internet is on or off. Now, I found this little snippet fascinating from the Australian Financial Review. They seem to think there are plans to sell off the NBN after 2030. And that would certainly align with the corrupt business practices of the public building up all of the fibre optic cables, which might be done by then, and hand the profit part back over to the private corporations. But between now and in the 2030s, the government has complete control over whether the internet's on or off. I wonder if there's envisage any emergencies or crises, given that we're actually living in the age of emergencies, mainly terror, climate change and viruses. And also in the last video I pointed out legislation allows tomfoolery to be able to, the AEC commissioner, to be able to respond to an emergency by introducing his own measures while the voice is on. So I've predicted there's going to be an emergency. I wonder if they're going to shut down the internet in certain parts if too much information about the voices is getting across. Who knows? We'll certainly find out in due course. If they've got big plans for us, no doubt. So I took time away from other stuff that I'm working on. This just jumped out at me. Just seemed a bit too, when I saw how they could just shut down the internet at times and locations, it'd just be absolutely, and they have the ability to do it here. You can just see it coming, can't you? So, all right, that's it for this one.